My name is Cindy, and I am 23 years old. When I first moved to the big city, I believed life should be easy. I believed it should be beautiful, comfortable, and full of things I did not have to work too hard for. I told myself that struggle was for other people, not for me. I was in college at the time, but I hated it. Every day felt the same: long lectures, difficult assignments, and endless pressure. I felt bored, tired, and trapped. I watched other students studying late at night, worrying about exams and grades, and I knew I did not want that life. I wanted freedom, not stress. So I quit. My parents were furious. They told me I was making a terrible mistake. They said education was my future, my safety, my chance to stand on my own feet. When I refused to listen, they made a hard decision. They stopped supporting me financially. No more rent money. No more help for food. No more safety net. Suddenly, the city felt much bigger and much colder. I had very little money and no real plan. I needed a job, but I did not want hard work. I looked at myself in the mirror and thought, maybe I don't need to work hard. I was young. I was pretty. Why should I struggle for years when others lived in comfort? I began to dream of an easy life. Nice clothes. A big house. Expensive cars. I told myself I could find a rich man who would give me everything I wanted. I convinced myself this was smart, not lazy. I believed beauty could open doors that education could not. To start, I found a simple job at a luxury hotel. I stood behind the front desk, smiling politely at wealthy guests. Every day, I watched expensive suits, shiny watches, and confident men walk past me. And one day, I noticed someone different. That was the moment my easy dream truly began. Leaving college did not feel brave. It felt exciting. I told myself I was choosing freedom, not running away. Every morning, I woke up late in my small apartment in the big city and looked at my reflection in the mirror. I was young. I was pretty. I believed that had to mean something. My parents' words still echoed in my head. Finish your studies. Work hard. Build a future. But all I could think was how tired and boring that future sounded. Years of stress. Books. Exams. Offices. I did not want that life. I wanted comfort. I wanted money. I wanted things now. I convinced myself that working hard was for people who had no other choice. I believed my beauty was my shortcut. Why struggle when I could smile? Why study when someone rich could take care of me? That was when I found the job at the luxury hotel. It was easy work. I stood behind the front desk, smiled politely, and greeted guests. The hotel was full of rich people, expensive suits, shiny watches, confident voices. Every day, I watched them walk in and out, imagining myself living their lives. Most guests were young businessmen. They barely noticed me. But one man did. He was older, maybe around 60. He came often. He always wore a dark suit and a gold watch that caught the light when he moved his hand. His car was long, black, and always waited outside for him. He looked powerful. Important. I watched him carefully. This is the kind of man who can change my life, I thought. One afternoon, he walked toward the desk and looked straight at me. Not at the computer. Not at the papers. Just me. My heart started beating faster. I fixed my hair and stood up a little straighter. This was my chance. I told myself I was smart. I told myself I was in control. I did not know yet that I was about to learn a very painful lesson about shortcuts, and about myself. I told myself that this was the life I wanted. Easy. Beautiful. Expensive. No more studying late at night. No more stress. No more listening to my parents talk about responsibility. When I arrived at David's house that evening, my heart was beating fast, not with love, but with excitement and greed. His house was huge. Every room felt cold and perfect, filled with expensive furniture and shining surfaces. It didn't feel like a home. It felt like a museum for rich people. David smiled as if he already knew what I was thinking. He asked if I wanted a drink. I said yes and sat on the sofa, carefully crossing my legs, trying to look calm and confident. David returned with 2 glasses and sat very close to me. Too close. I could smell his perfume, strong and heavy. Then he picked up a small box from the table and opened it. Inside was a silver necklace, shining under the light. "This is for you, Cindy," he said. My eyes widened. I felt a rush of happiness. I took the necklace and put it around my neck. In that moment, I felt rich. Powerful. Chosen. I told myself this was proof that my plan was working. Later, when David kissed me, my body felt tense. His skin felt old and dry. Something inside me wanted to pull away. But I closed my eyes and focused on the necklace, the house, the money. I told myself feelings didn't matter. This was just the price of an easy life. I stayed the night with him. The next morning, I woke up alone in the big bedroom. Sunlight came through the curtains, touching the expensive walls. I smiled to myself. I thought, this can be my life forever. I walked to David confidently and told him what I wanted. I wanted to stay. I wanted to be his woman. His wife. David laughed. Not softly. Not kindly. He looked at me with cold eyes and said I was dreaming too big. That night meant nothing to him. I was not special. I was only a guest. In that moment, everything broke. The necklace around my neck suddenly felt heavy. Cheap. Like payment for a mistake. I walked out of his house feeling smaller than I had ever felt before. The next morning, I woke up in a bed that was too big and too cold. Sunlight came through the tall windows, touching the expensive walls, the paintings, the furniture. Everything around me was luxury. This was the life I wanted. Or at least, I thought it was. David was standing near the window, already dressed. He looked calm, like nothing special had happened the night before. My heart was beating fast. I didn't want to go back to the hotel desk. I didn't want to return to my small apartment and my empty wallet. I took a deep breath and walked toward him. "David," I said softly, trying to sound confident, "I want to talk about us." He turned and looked at me. His eyes were not warm anymore. "I don't want to leave this house," I continued. "I want to be with you. I want to be your woman. I want to stay here, forever." For a second, there was silence. Then David laughed. Not a happy laugh. Not a gentle one. He laughed like I had told the most foolish joke in the world. My face burned with shame. When he stopped laughing, he looked at me with cold eyes. "Cindy," he said, "you are very pretty. But you must understand your place. Last night was just last night. You enjoyed the gifts. That is all." His words hit me harder than any slap. I stood there, unable to speak. In that moment, I understood the truth. I was never special to him. I was never important. I was just entertainment. A young face. A temporary pleasure. I touched the silver necklace around my neck. Yesterday, it made me feel rich. Now, it felt heavy and dirty, like payment for something I didn't want to remember. I left his house without saying another word. Outside, the city felt louder and colder than ever. I had no job I wanted, no money from my parents, and no rich man waiting for me. For the first time since leaving college, I felt truly lost. I walked for a long time until my feet hurt. Then I realized something simple and painful. I didn't need a rich man. I needed my family. With shaking hands and a heavy heart, I turned toward my parents' house, hoping they would still open the door. I stood in front of my parents' house for a long time before ringing the doorbell. My hands were shaking. For the first time in my life, I was not asking for money or comfort. I was asking for forgiveness. When my mother opened the door, her eyes widened. My father stood behind her, serious and quiet. I couldn't hold it anymore. Tears ran down my face. "I'm sorry," I said. "I made terrible mistakes. I wanted an easy life. I didn't want to work hard. I hurt you, and I hurt myself." My father listened carefully. When I finished, he spoke slowly. "We warned you, Cindy. Life doesn't give real rewards to people who don't earn them." "I know," I said. "Now I really know. The easy life isn't real. It only made me feel empty and ashamed. Please give me one more chance. I want to go back to college. I want to finish what I started." My mother stepped forward and hugged me tightly. I felt safe for the first time in weeks. After a long moment, my father nodded. "This is your last chance," he said. "If we help you again, you must take it seriously." "I promise," I said. And this time, I meant it. I went back to college. It was hard. I was behind. I had to study every day, even when I was tired. I worked part-time at a small coffee shop to earn my own money. I stopped thinking about rich men, expensive gifts, and fast success. I focused on my books, my future, and my choices. Sometimes I remembered David and his big house. But I remembered his cold laugh too. The silver necklace stayed in a box, untouched. It reminded me that beauty can open doors, but it cannot build a life. Now, I am not waiting for someone to save me. I am building my own future, step by step. And for the first time, it feels real.